How's it going, YouTube? It's your boy Luke Cardwalker coming at you with this week's Rivals Champion. What is your name, sir, and what are you playing?
Peter Brown, and I'm playing Dogmatika Invoked.
All right. So it looked like you were having some good matches. Anything you want to say about this deck before we get started?
Yeah, I put a fair amount of thinking into this deck because I feel like I see a lot of players like doing certain things with this deck that I think are like kind of strange. Like in particular, like with cards like Maximus. And so I kind of like rejected like a lot of those and thought I was like, you know, I don't know, I'm gonna try like doing it like very, very slightly differently to get an edge like in something like a mirror match. And I think it paid off. So
all right,
I think it's good. So
cool. Well, let's get right into it.
So obviously played all the crazy ones. Only 2 Invocation. I do play 3 Desires in this deck, but I only think you really need a third as much. It's very often that like the Desires is played after the Alistair resolves. It doesn't really get negated that often. And of course, mathematically, chances are like both of them getting banished and referred to simultaneously matter is pretty fringe. A lot of times, if you play 3, you'll have like, especially in this deck when you play Tactical Talents and Desires, you have like a lot of drawing. You'll find yourself having dead invocations because this card is not good independently, unlike Alistair. And that's the whole reason why you play this deck. Like I dabbled a lot with Trap Tricks, Dogma. I thought that was pretty good. It's for the same principle that like any normal summon monster you can turn into an extra monster is really good with Dogma. And this card's like really, really efficient because it makes it 1 card Macabre, and Macabre's like gonna be good for literally forever. And so, but the problem with Trap Tricks is that it's Trap Tricks, so going second is like literally impossible. So
you're not wrong.
Yeah. So
shout out to Jason.
Shout out to Jason. I don't know how he did, but if you play Trap Tricks, probably not good. But I don't know. It's fun though. Trap Tricks is a lot more fun. This is definitely like more standard meta stuff. 3 of probably the best, at least. Maybe the best card printed all year. It's either this or Fiber, but this card is like definitely like in the discussion. 3 of the other card that searches, 2 Fleur-de-Lis, and then that's it for main deck Dogma. I don't play Maximus.
Really?
Maximus is a plus for your opponent. Like it's the same reason why I don't really like cards like Mothman. Like obviously, if you sit in your room and like play with 1 mat and you like literally play by yourself, or like Fishbowl, you're like, wow, this card's insane. You search Schism and you send to Tinaclad and you get an Ecclesia and it's awesome, like oh my god. But then you realize like Yu-Gi-Oh is a 2-player game and like they will just send Entis, Nova, Chenic 1 Nova, Chenic 2 Entis, and they're gonna force you to ditch a monster card with your Macabre in order to negate it. It's just like you're never in a plus-1 position. You side Maximus instead. Yeah. So you side 1/2 Maximus because it's good against decks like Dragon that like definitely don't really have room for like a Nova and a Macabre or like cards like Entis. So that's why you only play these. These are the insane ones. You don't need Maximus.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So and you play 2 Punishment. This card's really good. It's arguably just as good as Servant. For the hand traps, I do these in sections. 3 Ash, the most crucial hand trap of the format right now, strictly because it negates Servant. Servant's like really, really too powerful on its own. In formats past, I've been playing like 2 of this and 2 Mourner pretty consistently, but especially like when Needle Fiber nonsense happened a lot. And because if you play both of them, the once per turn clauses don't really interfere as much. But because Servant is in the game now, it changed it so much that you need Ash really, really badly. 3 Phantasme. I actually don't know how popular this was, but basically every deck of relevance summons links, and it's really, really good in conjunction with Dogma, especially with a card like Punishment. So like Punishment is actually a pretty underutilized card. You need to maximize it though with main deck monsters that can like hurt, and this card does both. It puts your invocations back in the deck. It's a body on board, so it works really well in conjunction with this. It just fixes hands. It's really, really solid. I was really happy to play this. I would not change that. And 3 Imperm, also really, really insane right now. 3 Desires, it doesn't hurt this deck. It's +1. 3 Cyclone, 1/1 Punishment, so that's really good this format. You don't need to main these, but I do, it's fine. 2 triple Tactical Talents.
How'd that card work out for you?
I think this card's insane. It's not, I actually don't think I'd play 3. it is definitely like off to draw multiples of, and it never works twice in a duel. And so I think that like that, because of like specifically that point, because it never works twice in the same duel, that almost automatically means the justification is to play 2, because you play 3 of cards that you want to see, and you're okay seeing multiples of, but not as much as this one.
Right.
And I use the draw 2 effect every time. This card's really solid. It's better than Call by the Grave because it has a lot more flexibility. And in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's fundamentally more advantageous to give yourself more cards than to take away cards from your opponent, because it gives you more options.
Right.
1 Upstart because we want to draw Nadir, and then 3 Judgment. I had extra room because I wasn't playing Maximus nonsense, I wasn't playing Schism in main, so I played 3 of these. I thought it'd be really good, especially against like the Mirror, because you can do it on Ecclesia, you can do it on Servant, especially Servant, and I was really happy with it.
Very nice.
It's a bit hard going first, but because the deck is like pretty fine going second anyway, especially with cards like Phantasme, it was fine. And I was really happy that I made it. I'm gonna do the extra deck. Standard, these, standard. I don't really think there's anything too much of interest here. I guess I play Omega. Not everyone plays Omega. I don't know. It's the attack value matters. Sometimes I kind of sometimes wish I was playing like, I don't know, 5-headed dragon or something. Sometimes when I have Tyranno, I wish I could just like send 5-headed dragon. I play these because I do side Schism, but I never used it. These cards suck. I really don't like them. Maximus isn't very good because your opponent will just plus anyway, and it just takes up 3 whole extra deck slots. Like, I think that one of the big criticisms with this deck, and I think like other like high tier players are kind of awake to this too, is that Maximus pluses your opponent. Yes, sir. They're super niche. They take up so much room in your extra deck, and you're forfeiting other cards that are really strong in Yu-Gi-Oh right now, like Needle Fiber, Axis Code Talker. And so I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up taking these out. Because I know, like, I don't really care that much about Schism. And putting in, like, Link 2s, like a Link 2, Needle Fiber, and Access Code. And then, like, now the deck is better. Because missing those cards hurts. So, but otherwise, it's really standard. I guess side deck. Gamma's pretty good, this format. Again, especially combo Infernoble. This card's really important against Infernoble, so I think most people are playing it. I don't main it because, as much as I main it in most of my decks, it doesn't really work that well in this deck because no one ever ashes Terraforming or Meltdown. They usually ash or Imperm the Alistair, and this card never applies in that situation. Typically, I only like main deck this card with like critical like interactions like that. If I'm able to also play Lambda, that's why I do an ABC. But that doesn't really apply in this case because you can't play Lambda. There's no room. And it wouldn't be that good of a link to the play. Or evenly, whoever designed this card needs to stop designing cards. 3-dimensional mirror. Actually, I really like this one because I think it's really good in the invoked Dragon Mirror. I kind of thought a lot about like how to go about the mirror match, but I think that like this is a good like tempo swinger. There aren't like a lot of ways to deal with Alistair because it's so efficient. But this card being able to just like, because the way the mirror match kind of works up is like you get invoked, I get invoked, you get invoked, I get invoked, and then like whoever gets the most Dragma cards usually, or like the most efficient setup of Dragma cards gets like ends up benefiting the most. And so this card helps momentum shift in your favor, so that way your Dragma cards overwhelm them, and that way you have Macabre next to them, you have 2 Macabres, then you're fine.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, unfortunately, it turns out Macabre should do Macabre first, but like it's still really strong. Also, as overlay against Infernoble, called Synchro. And it's fine, actually, surprisingly fine. It's good against like a lot of those decks that like Needle Fiber decks that try to go for Herald and then try to go to Rordon and then to Savage.
Right.
I'm gonna do this. It's called Synchro. Can't do that anymore. This card, I want to play more of these. I actually only have one, which is hilarious. I threw it in the finals. But this card's really strong. It's really versatile. It's not like absurd. I wouldn't really call it that, but it's efficient. It works against Dino really well, which is what happened in the last match. He just card miss, chain this, target miss. It was game for life. But because I am actually kind of afraid of Dino in this deck, I definitely want to play a second one of these. Instead of that, I just played a Droplet. This card's fine. It's basically Chalice they can't respond to. I don't really care about it that much. It's not that insane. I don't think it's justified by the price, but it's fine, I suppose. And then the Beers I had room for Dragon. And then the 2 bad cards. I side these in against decks that did not play Dragma, which is basically no one, so I basically never use these. I sided it in against Dragon because Dragon didn't play, so I sided this in, it didn't really matter. Again, the criticism I have is specifically with this card. This card's like really, really good, and this card will definitely be like used in other things. But since this card is so versatile, and this card is Miracle Fusion on steroids because it summons better monsters. But it's just with Maximus, whenever you use it, your opponent will plus more than they really should. If you think about Yu-Gi-Oh! In a one-player sense, it seems good, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a two-player game, so that's why I'm really good. But, you can play more Maximus if you want. I think that might be correct, perhaps over this, and you don't really need this. I like this. I probably want to move this to 2. Maybe tweak these ratios around. Maybe not need 3 of these, but again, Maximus is good against they're not playing Dogma, but they are. Then good luck with that.
Very nice, man. Well, I love how much thought you put into the deck. You got any shout-outs for us?
Shoutouts? All my friends. Rivals. Team Zero.
Team Zero, repping the
Dan
shirt.
at Rivals, great. Love going locals here. Young Zings at home.
All right, man.
Raymond let me use his Ecclesias. Patrick Weiser gave me his literally, so we're all happy about that. So thanks everyone, appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much, man.
Bye.